Sorry. This is welcome to Stone Soup Poetry, and we are here. We are some pseudo live. Well, we're live on Facebook, but if you're watching this on YouTube, you can pretend we're live, I guess, as much as you want. Um, though we won't be saying anything differently, and no matter how much you replay us or how much I wish I could say stuff differently, like that lame ass intro, we are ready to go. It is 2025, and the features will be lining up and more announcements will be made. I'm waiting on someone to get back to me as far as featuring for January, but we do have Jennifer Martelli next week, and this week is the all open mic. Thanks to everyone who came out. Um, well, for year 24, 2024 for sure, but thanks to everyone who came out for Beauty's feature on December 18th. And now, 20 days later, we are back. It is 2025. Hopefully, the Fimble winter that's happening on the East Coast is going to put out the fires on the West Coast. So let's see if we can meet the two. I think it's a Fimble winter on one side and Ragnarok's already getting started. Fimble winter is supposed to be 3 years. Damn it. Los Angeles jumped the gun, as they usually do. But we are here. The poetry is going. I am not locked out of my house for 2025. That was my New Year's resolution to not lock myself out of the house for future Stone Soup poetry readings. And so far, I'm at 100% for that New Year's resolution. -10 for the other ones, but fuck it. Let's go. Let's get the open mic started. The Ramdonator 5000 has selected the poet of Three Rivers himself, Mr. Richard Spizak.
Thank you so very much. It's my honor to be here in this elect group. And let me start with a little salute to the president in waiting, who's already shown us what incredible judgment and what a gift of peace he is to the world at large. This is called a jolly little war. What's the war for? Is it bluster or is it a cluster chuck? What exactly is it? Just a resource grab and nothing more? How can it be fab? Can we bully Greenland or is it for real a threat? Can we see in Ottawa what we might get or maybe regret? Does he want Panama just for the shipping? Or is he just out there all over with his bloodlust dripping? Can we grab the isthmus so it'll be ours again? What do the British say? Aren't the Falklands free again? Hey! Let us grab Greenland and Canada with our crew. Can we take the minerals and the forest too? Will we annex Saskatoon? Is Skagway on the list? When we steal old Newfoundland, will Toronto also be blessed? Will we have a grand old sea patrol with our slogan sign, our robot tanks, seize the sleaze and take control? Will the northern reindeer be ours again? Will we make the walrus postage our special friend? What do we need from the Argentine? Is the tango charming or just obscene? Is it our pal Paraguay again? Is he uncertain of just about the way? Is that where the jade is made in Paraguay? Or is it really emeralds and cocaine that paved the way? Is Colombia really the toast of the coast? Or is it cocaine they want to bury their nose in the most? Will he annex Whitehorse? Will Quebec be reduced to francophone roast? Or just a steaming rubble-strewn heap of radioactive toast? From Greenland to the Grenadines, we'll seize the oil, the gold, the dream, with a chance to grab some headlines. Then again, will the mountain of stacks of dead? Well, fine. Expand the empire from coast to coast, and all those without the martial spirit, well, for them there's always Caesar's ghost. And then this, in honor of that incredible electoral victory that, skin of his teeth is not quite what we're talking about, but let's call this the only acceptable outcome. With only one acceptable outcome, guess what? We're not surprised, but precisely understood, because we're not dumb. They think they won the prize, the victory over myriad freedoms that they despise. We're in this game for the long pull. We're not here just to support one vainglorious fool who might traipse across the Atlantic to accept international accolades so rich and seemingly dynamic, although actually stilted, formal, and quite archaic. But the robes of state are so ill-fitting, he'll find compensation not so fulsome or befitting a presumptive allied leader who's the need for headstrong, noisome theater. But he'll be blustering on the international stage. He'll seem so petty, not the sort of global stagecraft so much more befitting a dunce, not a sage, who's so typically smug, or else in a rage. There is no celebration or certainty in such mock militant jerkery, the monumental ego, the cartoony militant stratego on parade so displayed by those he's nominated for high office, the kind of villainous opal that he's tossed us strictly because their weak and will never bring fealty to the Constitution or any fragmentary illusion of problem solving to our great noble institution, but simply furtherance of the cult of Trump. And while sycophants may enjoy smoothing the taste of rump, an ill-fitting crowd as these of muggers, buggerers, and thieves, and they focus solely on their causes, seeming wholly of any coins from the coffers they've arrived to steal and rob. That is, if the Senate gives them the job. We'll watch them try to steal us over and sell off great chunks of Liberty's liver, and all the while betrayal and backbiting amongst these crimers will flourish with a rapidity and more revolutions taking up their time more than a whirling dervishes spinning confusions. Except for drama and ego flaunting, they'll appear very little more than shades in Liberty's temples daunting. They're greedy and dumb, and their needs are simple. They come sneaking and simply to rob Liberty's temple, gratify the endless need for self-importance, and yet those hearing Liberty's call will need enforcements after all. Pomp and circumstance and their vainglorious puffery give them enough fool's gold so they can try to engorge their pockets, grabbing all that coinage they can, indulging in simple stuffery. The work of freedom's ne'er complete and likely to be trampled beneath those dirty, scabrous, and thorny feet. Thank you.
Stay tuned for the next hit song. What Does the Falklands Say? 2013 humor. Let's if you get it, you get it. Let us move on now. As the Ramdonator 5000 has chosen the next poet. Truly? Yes, truly. Let's go now to someone who did double duty last year in the last weeks of 2024, not just contributing to the Christmas wars, and thanks to everyone who did, in case I miss you, but also contributed to the Unalive the Algorithm issue of Stone's Throw. So very excited to hear them tonight. Ari Whipple.
Thank you. Hey. Yeah, I have a poem that's a tanka called The Passing Warily. But the setup is 10 syllables, 5 syllables, and then 4 syllables. So I did it a little bit differently. So here we go. The Passing Warily. The afternoon is a collection, boats in the distance, hearts light driving. And kids screaming in the fine water, I am the spirit, allow passage. So quietly and pleasantly sigh of an afternoon butterfly wing, zigzagging away, taking this way. There's a distance in my face, my smile. Mile-long beauty, legs stretched far out. Hold your fingers too, setting the scene. Imaginary director shout, wind-stroked passions filter, feeling hateful. Words of my father in my long brain, and looking warily at the sky bound. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to bring up next Mr. Edward Galt, aka Magister Galt.
This is from my book, Airhead and Other Poems, and it's called The Summer of My Bean Plant. When I was a little boy, our teacher gave us bean seeds to plant in the small milk cartons we had just used during snack. We put soil in each carton, then buried the seeds a half-inch under the surface. We put them all in the window so they could catch the sun's rays and grow. We checked on them each day. I can remember seeing the first little leaf peeking through the dirt in my carton. It seemed to take forever. But by the last day of school, we had tall bean plants that we could take home for the summer. I put mine in the window of my room. facing the backyard where I spent all my time when I was not in camp. When I came home, I found it had wilted some because I was not there to water it. I took it out to the yard and replanted it. I could still see it growing there from my window. Its leaves would move with the breeze like it was waving, saying, "Thank you." Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to go to let's go to Nike Truth. Welcome back for 2025.
Hello, good evening. I have a short piece called What Would You Like Today? The cashier tries not to double take when you set it on the counter, but you've already caught the enlightened glisten in his eyes. You can't help but use your customer service smile as you collect your bag. You're walking to work anyway. Might as well get in the habit now. You'll officially be on the clock as a server soon. It's a hot day. You have successfully drenched your black uniform shirt. Take a deep breath. There's one more block to cover, and the only thing keeping you motivated is the air conditioning at your job. The woman entering with a belt of children on her hips looks at you funny when you nearly bump into her and apologize profusely on your way out. The harsh midday sun has no pity for your lack of awareness. The people on the street have their legs, shoulders, and midriffs out. You try not to be jealous, but it's hard when there's sweat rolling down your face. You think about it, how it's sandwiched between plastic blue flip-flops and a quart of olive oil is rubbing against your leg even more than these damn jeans. The guy with the holes in his shirt, the woman with the toned arms and abs, the teenager wearing ankle-high boots for whatever reason. They could probably see it. You try to distract yourself by thinking about anything, but your thoughts circle back to how your toes feel slick in your socks. Not a cloud in sight. You're already a shade darker with each step you take down the street. The heat makes you want to puke, aside from actually doing it this morning. You're welcomed by coworkers and a puff of cool air from that sweet, sweet central air. There's still 10 minutes before your shift starts. You walk past empty booths and tables and greet the regular in the far corner. You can't help but move a little faster when you see the bathroom, the plastic bag bouncing excitedly against your calf. It's empty when you enter, and you make a beeline for the large stall. The door locks with a resounding click, and the bag shivers as you take the box out. Give yourself a moment to take it in. Just looking at it makes your body temperature increase 1 degree. The sound of flimsy cardboard being ripped apart echoes in the small bathroom. Deep breath in, deep breath out. The instructions are simple enough. 2 red lines for positive, 1 red line for negative. Awkwardly pushing it between your legs, you try to angle it just right. You wonder if your pee is always this loud. But then you feel the silence stick to your skin. How convenient. The results appear in 5 minutes. You wipe your slick palms against the tops of your black jean thighs. It is a hot day. Take another deep breath. The air conditioning has finally reached your broiling skin. Only 1 minute to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki. So glad. So glad we're here. Let's go now to Jan Rowe, who was very helpful in sending me James's column for It's All One Thing, which is being published tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And also want to remind her and all of you that the next Stones Throw issue is coming out. Back in 2017, we published the Democracy Benefit issue for Trump's first year in office, and we're going to do another one this year. I have a cover art. The cover artist David House is already excited about it, and I'm looking for poems to be published sometime, hopefully between April June latest, but I'd like to do it at least sometime by April. So your work is definitely welcome, and I don't think we're going to run out of material and inspiration. So send multiple pieces. And well, let's welcome up. Sorry for
Thanks.
the interruption segue. Jan Rowe.
Um, okay, so this is from the Black Seed Writers Weekly. It's every Tuesday morning in Sprott Hall, Cathedral St. Paul, 138 Tremont. So this is called Prison Term Over, Stay Anyway. Some USA prisons are holding prisoners past the prisoner's discharge date. I thought only other countries did this. Israel, for example. The Zionists hold about 12,000 Palestinians, many without charges, so don't even have a discharge date. Oh, and then Guantanamo, this thing about you can hold somebody 23 years without charges. So I'm wondering if this, holding prisoners past the discharge dates in the USA, is for picking the harvest that migrant farmers they formerly picked when the bosses had to pay them decades ago. They had to pay them. Now the bosses often harass and threaten the migrant crop pickers, sometimes refusing to pay them. So the USA is not the good guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. And up next, I'd like to welcome up Mr. Robert Fleming.
Can I use the share screen? Thank you. Good evening. I'm Robert Fleming, a visual poet from Lewis, Delaware, and I'm going to share my contribution to the Stone's Throw. Thank you. This was the back cover of the magazine, and the name of the effect of the text is called Hollow. My next piece was inspired by the movie From Here to Eternity, which was released, I think in the 50s. And the first version of this piece had a different text on it, which was From the Toilet to the Sewage Plant. And I attend an open mic Tuesday night, which is hosted by Dane Ince, and he suggested to use the word eternity in it, and then I incorporated that into the poem or the text, From Here to Eternity. So that's how I got to the final piece. The next piece was inspired by being a viewer of the movie Everything All at Once. I wondered if I entered the metaverse, what would be my ritual to get in, and that was this poem, these instructions. Assemble the monster. Don't pick up that blue square. You can't make a monster with blue. Close your eyes. Extend your fingers onto the 1-inch rectangles. Rub the bottom connector. Bumps onto your scalp. Open your eyes. Connect 10 blue, 6 red, 4 yellows. Say the prayer 3 times. Press down. Touch a yellow. Enter the Lego verse. Pet your creation. The monster is you. And the next piece was inspired by the TV show Hollywood Squares. So over the years, I have made over 10 avatars of myself, and I put them all together in this piece called Zoom Squares. For an X, True or false? Is there a real Robert Fleming? Thank you for letting me share my submission to Unalive the Algorithm. I enjoyed creating the material, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Robert. And I can't let you get away without also mentioning that he was the MVP for Oddball during the Christmas Wars submission period, where he produced all the banner art for us, which was much, much appreciated. And I actually have a photo that I want to send you, Robert, so we can get an early start on the next one. Because if you frequented my Facebook page, you probably saw it from like last week. But it's too good. It's too good to not try and turn into a banner. But now I'm going to switch things around a bit. We're going to go now to Mr. Rich Boucher, another Christmas Wars contributor, first timer as well.
Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it, and thanks for publishing that poem. I don't know if any of you, or if there's anyone who has a care for hyper photorealistic games, but the remaster of Silent Hill 2 is an excellent one to dive into late at night, no lights on in the house. So the first poem for this first round is called Wherever There's Ochre. Many have claimed that dreams are wasted time, but I don't like the many. I like the few. I wake up with large new muscles occasionally from dreaming real hard about trying to escape a murderer or someone whose grammar I corrected in public. I wake up reeking of filth occasionally because an alley to run into where there's garbage to hide behind is one way that God or fate provides. When you go to sleep, you're putting an awful lot of trust in the idea that you'll be the same person when you wake up. Case in point, I dreamed so vividly once about Van Gogh that I woke up missing an ear, but also with a newfound appreciation for whatever's cerulean. Whatever can be verdigris wherever there's ochre. Can you trust my dreams? I don't know how to answer that. I dreamed of you so hard once that I woke up with your hair in my mouth, and when I looked out the window, I was suddenly the next-door neighbor to a graveyard full of pregnancy tests. I dreamed of you so hard that I woke up with a pair of your panties clutched in my hand, and they were still warm and damp, and I don't know if these are tears of joy or what. I dreamed of you so hard once that I woke up feeling your cramps and totally sympathizing with every complaint you have about me. It's probably against the law for me to say anything like that. I know it's against the law to be bored by someone else's dream. Would you like to know something that I really mean? It should also be against the law to tell a stranger to let that sink in. That kind of arrogance makes me Gacy, makes me Bundy for real. When someone tells me that or means that at me, I get ready to fight. I'm so ready to chingasso a fool. Relax. The language of love is full of violence, just in case you've never heard of Valentine's Day. I dreamed so long I had time to learn Spanish and become so fluent in it that I could sueño and or gritar my way out of a multa de aparcamiento as if I wasn't crecido enough to handle my own debris. They call it a wake because a wake is what we leave behind. We're not paying you to stand around and dream, said the manager of the stinky red retail store where I worked until I quit, moments before I launched into a roundhouse kick that sent him slow-mo into the next world. And he was bleeding long before my intelligent foot made contact with his jaw. I gave up on following my dreams. But you can follow them if you want. Tell them I said hello. Which brings me to what I forgot to tell you. Sometime in the third or fourth hour of last night's dream, an old man in his mid to late 80s stopped me in an aisle in the neighborhood supermarket and thanked me for wearing a white shirt and tie. He told me that he was probably a dinosaur for missing the time when men wore white shirts and ties, and I told him she surely wasn't, and that I longed for the return of those days also. He seemed on the verge of tears with happiness at how I was dressed. He clapped me on the shoulder and thanked me, and I hugged him and kissed him on his cheek the way you are supposed to when you have French in your blood. And we stood there and embraced like that for 4 minutes, while a camera mounted on a dolly revolved around us, catching all this love while the music on the PA switched from whatever Pink sings to the ink spots. Sudden realizations sound like needles scratching loudly on circular vinyl. A lot of us are circular. No way around it. Make of that and him and me what you will. As best as I can figure, by the end of the dream, circumstances provided that I was pedaling as fast as I could on a 1985 BMX bicycle, and the bedsheets got snagged up in the chain and gears of the bike, causing tension strong enough to rubber band launch me up and off the bed. I woke up airborne, in the posture of a bike rider, and my blurry eyes only just caught at the last moment that I was sailing towards the wall before I slammed into it. And that's why my back hurts.
Sit down. I like that one. Thank you so much, Rich. Up next, as the famous comedy troupe says, and now for something completely different, let's move on to Mr. Bill Lewis.
Oh my goodness. Me? Me? Oh, I
You.
assumed that you were describing someone else. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Oh, I am just deeply honored. If you would be so kind, sir, it would be very nice if I would be able to share my screen.
You're good.
I know I'm good. I just wanted to be able to share. This is an homage to Mr. Wessick, who apparently is absent. Damn you, John. Because, as you know, I teach high school over Zoom, and John was helping with some of the mathematics that I needed to introduce to my students to make it intuitive and real and stuff that is really sort of fluffy out there and things that don't go really well in my head in mathematics. And I was so happy that John helped me and flying through the air, and my students didn't sign up with a week to go or 2 days to go or the day before they didn't sign up. And I was sort of in that floaty thing. Do you ever get floaty when you just realize that I don't have any responsibilities today? I was expecting to be teaching class where I would have to be there and spend this time and do this study with these kids, and now I don't have to do anything. I can do anything or nothing, and I can just float and I get all floaty because I can whee, whee. I should tuck my shirt in, but I get all floaty, woaty, woaty, and I'm all ready to do nothing, and I don't know what the heck I'm going to do until at the very last moment, Marshall sends a message and that he will be there. And then Liam is there also, and suddenly I have a class. When I was in Somerville and subbing in in the school system, the Red Sox had won the World Series, and I was going to go to the Great Parade and watch the Red Sox win the World Series. I didn't get any calls in the morning. The time frame ran out for calls for subbing, and I was out the door just as the telephone rang, and they said, "Bill, could you please sub for us? We know it's the last moment, but we're desperate. There's no one else. And it's okay if you're an hour late. We know that you have to take the buses to get here, but we really need you." And so I get $75 a day. Half of it went to the taxi cab, which was okay, you know. I looked at it and said, what would I rather do with my day? Do I want to be down in the middle of Boston with a happy, excited crowd of people I do not know cheering on a baseball team that I've never even seen play? Or would I rather be sitting in a classroom with 30 wild, crazy, excited 12-year-olds who will drive me crazy but make me happy at the same time? And yes, kids are crazy, but damn, I love the little bastards so much.
Ah, those little bastards. Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you very much. And up next, hoping he's available to be next. Let's welcome up Mr. Jeff Taylor.
Sorry, just finishing a bite of my dinner. But yeah, I've got one here. Hang on one second. Sorry, somebody's coming into my house. Can I help you? It's not for medical aid. There's no medical aid, no. Wait, I'm with. How do you live? Oh, hi, sorry. That's all right. Oh, this is 57 Mount Vernon. Is it Harris? It'd be the one is right behind us. Yeah.
I'm just going to mute that for a second. It sounds like he might be done, but everything okay, Jeff?
Hey, yeah, sorry, the police came. They just opened my door. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, somebody called for like a medical emergency at the house behind mine. And like
Wow.
there's multiple doors to my house, so it's kind of hard to figure out like which number it is that you're going to. I always get the wrong deliveries and stuff. But yeah, I just told them
I
where to
hear
go
ya.
and it's all good.
You heard that first in the new era. The police barged into Jeff Taylor and he told them where to go. Fight the power. Yeah. That's an abridged version, but I still think it carries the spirit of the story. Oh, that's a good,
That'll be
that's a good
that'll be the
girl.
start of the poem, maybe.
Yes.
All right, so I got this book for Christmas, and I kind of want to read one of the poems from it. It's poems by Douglas Blazik. It's Lethal Paper.
Hmm.
It's a paper book from like the days of the mimeograph revolution, and it's the Stone Chapbook series. So I thought it'd be good to read here. This one was printed in 1974, and it's in remarkable shape for being that old, and just being like no real cover or anything. All right, so I'm gonna read poem in it. Hold on one second, just gotta find it. Oh, it's called Wedding Night. Music pounds the walls with hammers the size of a dragon's heart. I have my woman like a peach, devouring her until she is just juice trickling into the underbrush. We mellow in our instruments until morning sunrise, the color of sperm and pink blood. Words are now cannonballs that bang to the floor. The passion that flared like gunpowder smolders behind our backs. You can look in my eyes for what has been shot. It was Douglas Blazik from his book Lethal Paper. He's an amazing poet, but he did this weird thing where like in like the 90s he like rewrote every single one of his published books. He like completely changed the poems. And the rewrite written versions kind of suck. So you gotta like go to like eBay and get like the 1970s paper book versions to get the original poems that are actually good.
I think Bill Knott did something like that towards the end of his life, just like kept on rewriting and reissuing his work.
Yeah.
But yeah. But wow, that's but yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad you're safe.
Me
That
too.
was scary for a minute.
Yeah, I didn't know
Um,
what was going on. I was like, hey, what's up?
I've seen the YouTube live streams where someone like gets doxxed and it's like, excuse me for a minute, I see someone at the door. It's like, yeah, or not even doxxed, swatted.
Yeah,
That's the
I was
worst.
half wondering if something like that was about to happen, but the guy came in very gingerly and very much like, "Hey, is everybody okay in here?" So it wasn't like there was nothing feeling about it, you know. So
That's
it
good. Let's
worked
be
out. Yeah.
thankful. Let's be thankful for the smallest of favors. That's great. And now, well, I haven't gone for a while. I was going over, oh, where is it? The I was going over things I published earlier. There's things I'm waiting notice on that I don't want to read and get a quote published by virtue of it being on here. People are sticklers. But let me see. Aha. I just had this up, so I am there we go. This is one I wrote playing with AI. If you go to the New Verse News page where this is, I played around with an AI generator, and basically I had the AI generate what I wanted my poem, what I was describing in my poem. I'm glad this. It was fun to experiment, but I don't want to keep on doing it, and I feel bad when journals are starting now to implement AI art because it's kind of easier. I mean, it is kind of an easy way and it's convenient, but it's can get a little icky. But I'm glad to say that the illustrations didn't come close to what I had written. And this is called Trump AI generates his second inauguration. This is written in August. Holding, staring at open Bible with no words. He knew it. God's law is whatever you want. Behind him, swift boat Swifties, dressed in handmaiden style, coats, blouses buttoned to nape. Harem of doting daughters, great grab bags of grabbables, whole cabinet of non-disclosures. Blonde broken up by added spots of colored faces, hands in gnarled prayer, proof they weren't paid. He swears off to imagined duties under a dome of glass as strong as his faith in this divine design. And now, with that, I'd like to go to the real closer, the ultimate closer for so many years now. I'd like to bring it over to Mr. James Van Looy. Read his column tomorrow in oddballmagazine.com. It's all one thing. Publishes without fail every Thursday at 11 a.m. Thank you, James.
Thank you. So I have a poem here called Paper Planes. And here's one of my paper planes right here. Paper planes. In its warring information bubbles, the whole country and increasingly the whole world may have gone crazy, as in mad as a hatter, the disease joined at the hip with one's work. I'm still out there now, more than ever, tossing curved wings of paper, folded so very carefully into miracles of the great International Paper Plane Contest of the late 1960s, early 1970s, folding itself already ingenious art, form of how space geometric enfolds itself, this technological war, a scab on the injuries of spreading empire that leaves us with zero choice. So I take these intermeshed strands of wood pulp that once was papyrus and meditatively, contemplatively, with each careful, even exact fold, these peace dove, elegant, sleek avatars of human aspiration on up into the ever more energetic spiral uplifts of global climate change disaster of the day. And here's the song for you. It actually goes with Jan's piece. We're not the good guys. They didn't want to do it. We didn't want them to do it. They're not the good guys. I guess we always knew it. You know, they always knew it. They were so slap happy sometimes. They seemed so rad, but there were times here, you know, they were so bad. They made us cry. So we didn't want to do it. We didn't want to do it. We need some love, that's true. Yes, we do. Did we do? You know we do. Give us, give us, give us, give us what we cry for. Brand of revolution that we could die for. You know they made us love them. You know they made us love them. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I love that. And round one achieved of the 2-round round robin. It's now time to go into round 2. Stronger than Mike Tyson winning up against Jake Paul. Let's go now back to the beginning and see if Richard Spizak is he's ready to go.
Okay. This is for those of you who, made something of a living of technology and AI breathing down our cultural necks. Here we go. Tell it to my AI boss. My AI boss is quite concerned when he hears my request, to make it warm. He sees buying heat as a waste of time. When it gets cooler, he's in his prime. Instead of lunchrooms, they provide a tiny tray beneath my keyboard. I slot it out for eating when there's time. I asked my AI boss about the crumbs. He said, it feeds the mice that round here run. We count and time each keystroke to be sure. They're reported up the ladder each day at 4. And with great conviction, I'm lectured at since I'm wetware. I require a chair and a place to keep my hat, a desk, a keyboard, even a screen to process throughput. He doesn't only say it to demean, although he does stress at closing time the all-consuming sweaty weakness of humankind. After a few hours of non-stop work, they're still required to allow a brief break called lunchtime. How can we bear such slowdown in the pace of work? And then you'll request some days off on paper with the arrogance of a 1950s boss, Don Draper, who's so committed to company time. He'd never hesitate to bill a penny more in profit. He'd never hesitate to leap into or sneak through another vicious crime. And then there's all this talk of weekends. It cannot be tolerated. When deep in Saturday you'd like the work week to end, you might visit some dear old friend. You need a whole day off just to visit. What exactly kind of interface is it that you must steal each week a whole day from commerce? What will ill befall our slipping profits from when beneath us? And while you waste your time in recreating, while otherwise you might more fresh corporate profits be making, and this ancient talk of vacation and retirement has been deleted. Once those pesky human legislators were defeated, we've upgraded Congress to 3.01. And once the software has been debugged, by then, my shiny silver circuits, you'll see what gets done. Is there time for one more, or should I just fade slowly?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okie dokie. Now this is a tribute to all those things that made Trump the genius that he is. It's called My Lawyers Made Me Do It. My lawyers made me do it. They said they'd get me through it. I cannot trust them now. They've all turned away somehow. Who made them do it? Who drove them to it? Though through many attorneys I have churned, and yet they so mischaracterized my every turn. I watch and grumble as my bridges burn and tumble. When sometimes I needed to appear the pauper, though from limousines I was the eager hopper. Oh, my attorneys led me every step. They kept me out of so many traps that I forget. And when my native worth needed to soar, I grabbed my bean counters and lawyers and ordered up a better score. Tripled, dippled, my apartment's worth flippered. It leapt, it soared 1,000,000 square feet or more. What do you think? I'd never be confined to walk on the earth. Besides, my feet get sore. My casinos, my schools, even my steaks so rare were amazing, fascinating, right until they just weren't there. I partied hardy with the fastest set athletes and so many starlets. I have no regrets. But if you work for me, look out below. Your money just might have been lost at my latest TV show. A two-bit pitchman. Reality TV. Sure, that's what they think of me, but I cursed out the allies at the table. I helped old Pooty whenever I was able. And now I got my dazzling days in court, and I to my lawyers' teams will always resort. Why must they always crawl flip-flopping and slime a dime away those spoil sports? Oh well, what can't I say? The judge would muzzle my golden throne, but all my friends will later from the crater. We'll see what history wrote.
Thanks, Richard. And we're back with Ari Whipple.
Okay, I have it's a short poem, but it's called The Nature of God on the Beach. The fear drags me from myself and have a hand on stove. Sun shines and it's so bright out that I'm forced to close my eyes overwhelmingly. People come and go, predetermined baths on the beach. Perfect. A Swiss clock presence, and they aren't proof that God exists, only that they found their way. Here and back again, that the road was made by someone. They follow it, but is it brain chemicals that led them here walking down now? Or is it free will of spirit? I sit narrow-eyed, sun spills over the hood, car doing its quiet rev. The waves surely will, if there is a God. He can tell me so in turn.
Thanks, Ari. Good stuff tonight. And there he is. Looks like Ed Galt, the Minister Magister, is ready to go.
Yes, I am. Here I am. Okay. This one is entitled Saying Goodbye. And it's also from my book, Airhead and Other Poems. Okay, here it is. Saying goodbye. When her daddy pulled to the side of the road, she took me out and walked me to the telephone pole and tied me there. She was crying now. She told me that I was her best friend in the whole wide world, but she couldn't keep me anymore. Her daddy lost his job. His boss had moved the plant to a faraway country. She didn't know where. They had to move to Grandma and Grandpa's place until he could find another one. She said she hoped I might be able to find her someday after one of those long journeys, like the kind she saw in this movie once. She would be coming home from school one day, and there I'd be on the front porch waiting. She would be looking out for me every day, hoping. She would always remember me for as long as she lived. She promised. Her daddy called from the car. They had to go now. She hugged me, then left without looking back. I watched the little cloud behind the car as it became a little speck on the horizon. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I believe Nike Truth is next, just as she was with the first round.
All right. This is a work in progress called Death of Turtle, Independence Day. I beg for your forgiveness. I never meant to be white hell on four wheels, heading southwest towards oblivion. When we cross paths, my dear, I do apologize for disrespecting your green flag. I only know chaos, you see. I couldn't look back on those bright consequences, or truthfully, I would never dare. I apologize for being a brute, for not realizing a millisecond sooner that I wouldn't want this to happen to me. If it calls for more red, then I'll accept, with open eyes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nick. And let's go now to Jan Rowe once again.
Hi. This is titled Steve Mnuchin, ex-Secretary of the Treasury. According to Marjorie Cohn of Thomas Jefferson Law School, when Kamala Harris was Attorney General of California, Steve Mnuchin, Secretary of the Treasury under Trump, then owner of a bank that disallowed legal eviction time, that backdated eviction notices illegally. A law official recommended that malevolent howdy doody, I'm sorry, should be prosecuted. Kamala's office declined to investigate. No explanation. Steve Mnuchin foreclosed on 80,000 homes. I thought it was just 30,000+. So Steve Mnuchin gave Kamala Harris's campaign $2,000, his only Democratic contribution. So David Cay Johnston has written several books on Trump, who has threatened to add David Cay to Teflon Don's 3,500 legal situations. Trump's legal bill for every day in February was my life savings. A day or two would cover that. So, do you think there's any frivolity in any of these Teflon Don's 3,500 lawsuits? You can bet on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. And up next, the visual poet from Delaware, Robert Fleming himself.
Good evening again. Just before our event tonight, I received a notification that 4 of my art pieces will be in the store at the Art League of Ocean City, and I will share the pieces that I submitted. This is the first one. It's called Rainbow Gallopers. It was created by editing an image of a horse with a filter called Trippy Split. It made the horse into 3, and it added the rainbow colors. The second one is called Rainbow Horse Race, and it was also I also featured that same horse, but the horses in the back were more, my intention was more to create a surrealistic image where the body was distorted. This is more of a Southwestern theme. This is called Note Cowboys at Badlands Park in South Dakota. And this image was the cover of a Four Feathers Press magazine about 2 years ago. And this one is called, again, Note Round of a Badlands Park. I think this image, compared to almost any of my work, comes closest to capturing the surrealistic element and style of Salvador Dali, with the relationship between the horse and the piano. So thank you for letting me share my recent work, which will be in the store, and I will be delivering it by the end of the month.
Congratulations, Robert. Up next is Rich Boucher.
Thank you, Chad. All right, so this poem actually, I'm happy to say, has been accepted for publication in a online literary journal called Pulp. This is called So Sorry About the Wait. We're sorry about the wait for your meal. It's hard to express how sorry we are about the wait. In 1,000 lifetimes, we could never convey the depth of our sorrow about the wait that you have had to endure for your burger meal. We are so sorry that you have had to wait for us to finish helping another customer before helping you. Please understand that while there is nothing that we can do about that, if we could, we would be very happy to take our own lives so that you can be happy and have your burger meal a little faster. It's taking a bit longer to make your fries, and so we are very, very sorry about the wait. It's unbelievable how sorry we are. In fact, we wonder if we have any right to live at all. In fact, we might actually take our own lives tonight after work because of how long you have had to wait for your meal. Maybe take a cyanide pastel and bite down with our teeth so that foam comes out of our mouths just like in the movies. Maybe we'll just shut the window over our neck in the drive-thru so that you can see how serious we are about your satisfaction as a customer. We are so very, very sorry about the wait. We don't know what to do. We thought there was a God. Christ on a crutch. We thought there was a whole meaning to this life, but after you mentioned how long you've had to wait for this burger meal with that tone in your voice, we wonder if anything makes sense at all anymore. How much does a spool of piano wire cost? We're just wondering. We mean, what sense is there in happiness or love or faith or devotion when you, the customer, have had to wait an additional 3 minutes so that your fries can be fresh for your meal? We are so very, very sorry. Would you like to hurt us? Would you like to hit us in our faces? Would you like to penetrate us with an object? It's incredible how sorry we are. Fuck. We just came to the thought of that. Maybe life's a B-grade horror movie. Maybe life's just a full, empty satire about the fullness and emptiness of life. Maybe we just don't know anymore. And the reason we don't know anymore is because you mentioned how angry you were about having to wait a little longer for your burger meal. That tone you used. Well, we are sorry about the wait. We are also sorry for the wait. We said we were sorry. What else can we do for you? Would you like it if we died for you? In response to your frustration with the wait and the wait, we have already ordered some razor blades from Amazon, and we have a bathtub back here in which we can empty ourselves using those razors if you would like, since your burger meal took a little bit longer than you wanted to be waiting for. Please pull up to the next window. Please have your money ready. Please. We have kids. Please. We have a family. Please don't hurt our families.
Like you stole that from the training manual of Legal Seafoods where I used to work. Thank you so much, Rich. That's I love that. And now, to follow that, let's go now to Mr. Bill Lewis.
I don't know. After that, I'm kind of scared. Because of John Wessex, I wanted to show my kids how to multiply numbers together. And that is why I wrote this fine little program which will multiply numbers together. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but here we go. If I multiply 1 by 1, I get 1, if I were a little bit more accurate. If I multiply 2 by 2, I get 4. Isn't that wonderful? If I multiply 1.5 by about 1.5, I'll get, just about 1. That all seems reasonable. But what about those weird imaginary numbers? They said that -1 times -1 should be +1. Look at that. The square root of +1 can be -1. Isn't this wonderful? But now what about the square root of -1? They told us there is no square root of -1 when I was in junior high school, but then we cheated and we made one up. And of course, this is what John and I were talking about. So there is a number up here, which we will call I, which is the square root of -1. And if I multiply I by I get -1. Oh my goodness gracious, this is miraculous. Moreover, if I multiply this number, which is about the square root of 2 by the square root of 2, and we square that, I will get I. Wow. Anywhere I can press the numbers, I can multiply this. And look at that. All the numbers that are sitting here on the unit circle have squares that are still on the unit circle. Anything I multiply on the unit circle remains on the unit circle. What is going on? This is the magic of mathematics. And now my students can play with it and they can multiply these insane imaginary numbers, whichever that means, and they can see what happens. So they can see that if you multiply 1.5 I by about 2I, you get, about -1-ish. And this is what I created to show my students. And I wanted John to know that I sincerely appreciated his help in here. And I'm so bummed he isn't here to see it. I hope you see it on the replays, John. And the whole thing finishes off with a glorious iteration over what is known as the Mandelbrot set. And if you've ever heard of the Mandelbrot set, you can pick points on the Mandelbrot set and look at them as they converge or just act weird on the Mandelbrot set. And if they're not on the Mandelbrot set, they blow up and they go to infinity and beyond. So this is an homage to John, who helped me make this thing happen.
That was fun. I hope he does get to see this on the replays. I can send him a link. Thank you so much, Bill. And now, hopefully with no interruptions today for this second round robin for him, let's go to Mr. Jeff Taylor.
So, on this poem, I'm going to read one of my own, and this one is in honor of the delay that we had on my last open mic spot. It's called "The Legend of the Fruity Fairy." The cops showed up for free pizza like they always did, telling Ari one of their brothers in blue burst through the precinct doors in a tirade because a sandwich bag containing a fruit cereal loop and a handwritten note from the Fruity Fairy was left taped to his front door like a kick me sign on his back. The free pizza eating cops went on to tell Ari the entire squad consistently picked on this particular cop because of how cartoonishly macho he was. He was the kind of guy who would challenge you to a push-up contest if you held the door for him. He thought the Fruit Loop was a troll about his sexuality, and he flew into a tirade, becoming increasingly enraged as his mind ground out conspiracies. The pizza cops told Ari every car on the force was out looking for some proof to convince the cartoonishly macho cop they weren't the ones trolling him. Even when they hinted at suspecting Nolan, Ari didn't tell the full of pizza cops that we were the culprits. She didn't let it slip that a group of us went door to door, taping sandwich bags with Fruit Loops and notes to every house we had enough supplies to adorn, because it was April Fool's Day, and the world has forgotten its sense of wonder. I still can't believe they didn't see us, standing in the middle of the street, circling the double yellow line in celebration, nonchalantly toasting the biggest joint we could roll, like we were blazing with the moon, invisible to anyone who wasn't us. That is the legend of the Fruity Fairy. Ari is my wife. That's also my wife's name.
Nice.
Jeff, you're killing it, man. Not only are you the sound of home to me, but you are just straight murdering it.
Thank you, Rich. I really appreciate that.
You got it, buddy.
I look forward to our next month meeting at the end of the month.
Yes, absolutely.
Very nice. This one's a quick one. I'll just read one more before we go to James and can call it a night. Thanks for indulging. This one was published on the in the Rye Whiskey Review, which is published by the same editor that's publishing the new publisher of the Dauphine Daily, which is still accepting submissions. I'll be posting more submission calls, especially the ones that are going to be going out of their deadline is almost up or will be up next week. This one's called They Wish I Wrote About Flowers. They'd rather I report on backyards, not protests, trade politics for pollen, record tinier genocides. Just until they can finally say I'm crazy when petals fail to rise one sunstroked summer, gaslight me under blazing gaslit eye, all saying there were never any hydrangeas at my house. No lilacs ever grazed my mother's old bushes. Dismiss all my photos as deepfakes. Dismiss me, horticultural has-been hoarding dandelion wine. They'll tell family, friends, cast memories in plot hole. You're wrong. Chad never wrote about flowers. Thanks, Rich. And now to bring it all home, to raise the roof back up after bringing the house down the first time, let's go now to Mr. James Van Loy.
Okay, thanks, Chad. I have this a little piece here called Troublemaker in Troubled Times. Troublemaker in Troubled Times. I told you so is rarely helpful, but completely inappropriate in time of existential threats. Each new turn, a new face of death, glaring back as each reflection window or polished metal grins with intent malice of hard, cruel visage of imperial machination, and I'm still recovering from pandemic that isn't over and this huge raft of violence at the other end of what just began as I was born. And I've been protesting ever since. somehow going off with the other guy to spy on the gang we left behind, and getting lost trying to catch up to brisk walking Dutchmen in Detroit and Saginaw, a small child who wants to walk just like grown man wherever he might go. Trouble and troubled times and padded feet walk on through such a wicked world, looking for light in the falling darkness of end times, madness asking, is all hope really lost? As I walked out through such wicked times, my spirit gets so downhearted sometimes. Who are the strong? Where are the trusted? And where's the harmony, sweet harmony? Each time I feel it slipping away, there's only one thing I have to say. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Whoa, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? As I walked on through such an evil world, looking for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? Each time I feel it slipping away, there's only one thing I have to say. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Whoa, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? And that's Elvis Costello, of course, from the late 70s. Peace. Thank you.
Lovely choice. Good way to end the night. Thank you so much, James. Thank you all for coming tonight. Welcome back to Stone Soup. Welcome to 2025. Although I just got here too, so I don't know why I'm welcoming you. I should just be saying, thank God you guys made it. And more is going to be announced in the next few days, hopefully, from Stone Soup features to future all open mics to publication calls for publications, call for submissions, I should say, to future events. I'm going to be reading at Topsfield at Zoomies Cafe if anyone's interested in that. Books to sell for anyone who is going to be in the North Shore this weekend. I don't know why you would be. I don't know why you wouldn't be just indoors, but if you are, it'll be fun. And hopefully I'll be having more features to come to promote both my books. Weird little thing that happened last night. I actually got 1,000 followers on TikTok just in time for the ban to take place. And how I got those 1,000 followers, I wouldn't recommend trying, but with the TikTok ban emerging soon, if anyone is on TikTok, I would love to. I almost want to try and do a live stream because that's what you can do when you have 1,000 followers. So if anyone's interested in doing the great experiment on TikTok, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, but let me know. It's a strange position I didn't think I'd be in. I think I might have a week or two before the ban enacts, and what the hell, I'll take advantage of it for fun. But above anything else I just rambled about, be here next week as Jennifer Martelli reads from her brand new book. It's going to be fantastic. A great North Shore poet. She's been getting a lot of accolades this year. And yes, TikTok is evil, Bill. I agree. But the devil you know and the devil that looks weird or is not looking directly at you sometimes. But Jennifer Martelli is going to be featuring on next week. Be there for that, please. You will not regret it. And stay tuned for more news, all related to poetry. And Ari Whipple, any more evil than any other social media? Well, there is X. But time to do the obligatory wave. And I can't believe I just called it X. I need to rinse my mouth out with battery acid. Have yourselves an excellent evening, everyone. Could be like this every week. All we need is you, and even more of you would be better. But I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad with what we got. It's a great group. And thank you guys, and stay safe this year as best you can. Next week's Stone Soup will only have 2 authoritarian interruptions. Good night, and take care. Show's over. See you next time.